All right, let's have a talk. Let's talk. But it's much needed. Okay, so we've been gone for a bit. Most of us can know that. If you didn't know, look at the time. Look at the dates they released. Also, I have hair now. I didn't have hair when the last one released. Right? It's been a while. Okay, so this is not a series that I want to be in a spot where we took this long off. This is also not a point in the series where I want to be at when we took this long off. Okay. So I'm not very happy with myself for the things that I have done that have led us to this 2 to 3 month break. Right. I am not very pleased with that. And as a result is going to probably cause problems with what's to come with the last 3 episodes. It's just gonna happen, okay? I can't, the only thing I can do to prohibit that from occurring is to rewatch all of them. And Lord knows nowadays I can't watch more than 1 episode a day. There's no way you're gonna get me to sit down in my own time and watch another 10 episodes again. I'm just not gonna do it. It isn't gonna happen. I'm good for like 2 of those marathons a year, and I already used up 2 of them. Like I can't do anymore right now. So we're gonna jump back into 11. We're gonna jump into it. I'm gonna rely on everything that I know. I'm gonna dig to the deepest parts of my brain to give you the best experience that I can, but also give myself the best experience I can. Okay. All I ask from you is help me out. Right. If I seem a little lost and something was explained already and I can't remember it, lead me in the right path. Right. If I seem like I'm almost there, or I'm remembering something just slightly wrong, slightly different from what actually happened, lead me in the right path. Okay. I apologize. I apologize to myself for doing this. I'm very upset about that because this is far, far, far from the series that I wanted this to happen with, right? I was having a blast all the way through. It was a mind trip. It was really fun, and I ruined it, okay? I did the same thing when we watched Steins Gate, unfortunately. Those are not the types of series you want this to happen. Steins Gate, we did a little different. Steins Gate, I watched like 5 or 6 episodes at the end, and I just didn't do a discussion. And I said, there's no way I can properly do a good discussion because I can't remember, and I'm not watching almost 20 episodes back. Like I couldn't do it to myself. So I said, this is the best experience I can give to continue with the series. Once again, we're in a spot that's similar with this. The best I can do would be to watch probably these last couple episodes and not do that. But this show is like so mind bending in like a lot of different ways. And it's like shorter form than say something like Steins Gate, whereas like Steins Gate wasn't like, I need to discuss this for an hour long each episode. It was more of like each episode I'll have like slight like increases into what I need to talk about, like slight little things that won't result in as long of videos. And especially we're towards like the wrap up stage almost of it, that I didn't need that full confidence I felt like going into it. And I remembered like most of the key things of where we were at. Whereas here I'm a little iffy on. The things I remember from my quick skimming of my previous video that I had on this was that we have full confirmation that the Lain, the bear suit Lain, the one that we all have grown to love, is not who we once thought she was, right? She's not the real version. She's this version that was essentially created within my assumption of a simulation that has led us to what we are now within this experiment, within the testing essentially of this new network that the Wired itself is being kind of controlled or put under. We have Eri, who we've come in contact with, who's this godlike figure who's essentially informing us about all the information and things that have kind of led us to this, giving Lain full realization that yeah, this isn't the world you thought it was, and kind of telling us too as the viewer, while Lane's still displaying some sort of thing. Well, no, it might have not been. They had some sort of like swap thing that was going on between them. I don't know if that was a thing of demonstration of power under her, or if it was demonstration of power under himself. We had some talks of gods, which was really intriguing, and the ability for one to kind of have this power through observation and belief in of others, which leads me to plenty of questions. The knights were completely wiped out, relatively easy, kind of weird, but that also seemingly happened. And that's kind of what I remember. For any specifics, I apologize. Anything else, I apologize. But we're gonna do this. We're gonna go back in. I'm gonna give it my best. I hope you guys stick around for the ride. I hope you guys help out any given chances that you have. Thank you for all the support up to this point in the series. Let's get this done. Let's not do no more breaks. Let's finish this out. I got 3 weeks. I'm planning every Wednesday to finish this off. We got 3 more episodes of that. I don't know if we're gonna have any plans to watch anything afterwards or if I'm gonna fill in gaps with stuff. We're just gonna kind of wait on that for right now till I feel I can get consistent on things. But we back for the time being. I hope you guys do enjoy though. If you like it all, like and subscribe. They do mean a lot to me. Feel free to stick around for the discussion. Leave any comments with this particular series. Let's get going. Episode 11 of Serial Experiment. Lain.
Present day.
Present day. Present time. We're so back. Well, we got a quote here. I remember last time we did not get one at the beginning, which was the first, and we don't again. Okay. We also ended off with her going like Super Saiyan. Is he hooking her up to machines? Or the other way around. Jesus. This reminds me of the ED guitar for some reason. I don't know why. Is this, it's similar, right? Not really. We're just tripping. Alright. Alright, Super Saiyan. Questioning oneself. Is this present time or memories of what happened at those times all surfacing? Memories. I love the guitar over this. Alright. Yeah, let's speed it up a bit. Remember all those sequences at the beginning? With all these visuals? All the lines of dialogue? Nope, we will never want to come to you. The static there. I'm gonna go jump off this building real quick. Catch you on the other side. I'm gonna catch you in the wired, brother. This is kind of fun for me too, because of like my bad timing, that this gives like a recap of a lot of things. He was so creepy at first, but he grew on me so much. Observing on like behind a screen, the wall of screens. You are so close, Lain. You are so close. Come on. After all, you're not even real. Ah. Yeah, we're good. What do you mean, Lane's always been Lane? Oh, back here. Also, sorry if there wasn't much reaction through that whole sequence. It was cool, but like, I don't know what I don't really know what to say or do. You want to go home?
疲れた。
すごいんだね。やっぱり君自身の脳にあのナビのエミュレーターをロードする。
Ah.
そんなに一度に情報を浴びたら危ないよ。君の今のキャパシティではオーバーフローしてしまう。
So a vision back through. Huh.
私って機械？
Do you want to know that?
ソフトウェアの問題さ。レイ、君はソフトウェアなんだよ。ハードウェアなんかじゃない。
ソフト。
そう、実行プログラムなんだ。肉体を持ったね。
Physical embodiment of something. Huh.
うるさい。
These are like the viruses. I hate how it just stood up and took a form like that. Hey.
前に一度だけ一緒に帰ったことあったよね。
Is that enough to consider us friends?
私やっとわかったよ。ひさちゃんが言ってたこと。
死ぬことなんて簡単なんだよ、レイン。そうだろ？
Is that a lightsaber? No, that's a pistol. But she knows.
簡単なことじゃないよ。え？
簡単さ。レイン、君はもうそのための道具を持っている。
何を？
Let's end up here.
セーフティーは外してある。トリガーは重いからね。
Practically set up for you, brother. Go for it.
女の子の力じゃね。何？まだリアルワールドにいたいの？ずるいな。君が僕をこっちに呼んだんだぜ。
私そんなこと。
肉体なんて無意味なんだ。
違うよ。何？これ。
Cuts are crazy.
だからさ、アリスが誰かに作れば嘘だってわかると思うんだよね。私。じゃあ明日。
That's not what she wants. Waiting for Lain to appear behind her again. The striped shirt. It's the alien.
誰よ。
But it's Lain. Ah. I wonder if it's like a pure visual thing on her end. Because it's the same body and we can see the...
ないよ。アリスの秘密を私は覗き見なんてしていなかった。
Then who did? The other you? How are you going to explain that?
ワイヤードで広めるなんてこと。一人じゃないみたい。違う私がやったこと。
The fuck is somebody else supposed to believe that?
アリスだって一人じゃないかもしれない。でもいくら私が違うって言ってもアリスはそう信じてるんだよね。
Yep.
だから私はそれをなかったことにする。
But you've already seen the effects of you deleting things before.
どういう意味？デバイスなんてもういらないの。
I can just snap my finger
ワ
and
イヤー
look.
ドとリアルワールドの境目
Yeah.
しちゃったみたいだから。私行きたいところに行けるようになったんだよ。だから私今ここにいる。あったことだってなかったことにできるはずなの。
Without care for the consequences as a result.
怖いよ。怖いよ。今日気が進まないっていうか。え？今日って何？やだ、昨日 CU メールくれた。
No, that shit got deleted.
嘘、昨日は。なんかアリス、今日変だよ。
So she was right. As a result, would she believe though, or does she...
朝だよ。マジ？不潔。
I feel like that's the only choice you have left, you
どう
know?
したの？
あの先生と
And you?
私のこと。
ああの先生と何か関係あんの？
もしかし
No,
て
no, no.
あの先生好きとか？
Just observing over. Menacingly standing there watching that. What the fuck did you do, you monster?
レイン、おはよ
早く来なよ。
It's so good.
う。レイン、
レイン。
You did this for me? Yeah.
笑った。
This episode was really good for me. I think that it was like the perfect thing because it allowed us to go through like half an episode of like refresher and flashback, but also doesn't feel like it was too like heavy or new ideas or anything that isn't maybe in line with whatever I was already feeling or under the assumption of. So I think it like worked as a perfect point for for me to be at here, which is always good, but also it does leave me concerned because if I'm coming out of it thinking it's a little like I can kind of pinpoint some things of what's going on here, then I feel like maybe I'm missing some stuff too. So I don't know. Let me know. Fill me in. Help me out a little bit. But basically, I think the recap portion, we can call it, I guess, at the beginning it's an interesting decision because it displayed it in a way that was really like trippy and made my head spin a lot, which was fun, and tied really well into exactly what's going on within the story, similar to the like uploading or downloading, whatever the hell's happening, of Lain basically not wanting to believe in this, of her not being her own self and all these other things, and now being able to obtain all this information, and for the first time seeing it from a perspective that's different than what she imagined, of this family of her own and of herself and all this stuff not being real at the end of the day, and being able to obtain all this knowledge that she now has and put it into like a certain different perspective that lets her really verify this or not. The concern of that though is just like it's an idea that was executed pretty well, but at the same time probably could have been done in like a minute and probably didn't need like a whole half episode to do so. But I mean, it works for what I think they're trying to display regardless, so there's no real issue there. And the main thing kind of comes down to what's going on with the Risu, which I guess we can just kind of skim through the episode to that point, because the entirety of the first half is essentially just this, right? It's essentially just this entire trip sequence of her seeing everything from the different perspective and replay of memories, essentially now being able to have all this uploaded and remembered, that help us out. A couple new like little moments and scenes and stuff that are like put in here or there, but I don't think anything that really screamed at me like that was crazy or like, oh, I need to go back and see that. The cuts here, I can't tell if they're directly like made, because some of them are different, right? Some of them are full, like these are full quality of what we remember seeing even from the outside perspective of Lain observing, right? And this is what gets me intrigued, because it's the idea of observation here. It's not everything directly from Lain's perspective that's replayed in these moments, but it's directly replayed from our own point of view, almost as the viewer. So it's like a third party operating and looking on, but these ones are direct, like normal, where I'd assume like how all these are like all staticky and like look a little different. I'd assume those type of scenes where we're seeing Lain from like the outside would be viewed almost in a sort of way similar to like this. It's like you're onwards looking at it like at this big like overhead of just like having like 50 monitors in front of you and just like watching the security cams of everything and obtaining the information that you're kind of needing for what each of these scenarios kind of are. And you're like doing that because I think we even see that at one point throughout throughout one of the episodes, not episodes, in the OP, and you get Lain, who's kind of like on the inside of a computer screen, and it's like she's looking onwards to it. So it makes me almost feel like it's a similar sort of scenario, which I guess we could play into, like a upload of this information to the Wired or to some sort of system that allows her to kind of process and view it in real time outwards that way, and reflect on it. But to me, it also just like comes off like, what if all this information we're replaying gets kind of put into a different perspective, to make us actually see this from somebody else's point of view, because we're seeing everything directly, like Lain, this is Lain right here, whereas you'd almost expect if she's obtaining the things that have happened in her own life, she'd get them from her own perspective and not from the outside here where we're viewing onward, as if there's this other being or this other sort of thing that's kind of keeping in watch on this. It's almost as if, you know, none of this stuff is real and you're just living in a physical body and all that actually doesn't exist, and she's not willing to kind of accept that. But at the same time, very well could be the case, and now you're seeing the actual footage for the first time, and belief of all of this actually being something that's happening would be interesting. But we get a lot of that stuff basically throughout this that we get to see, until we get to see Lain basically just all kinds of a lot of Arisu memories too is what we get. But yeah, till we get her all hooked up, a complete mess here. This is crazy. You're truly incredible being able to upload all that stuff into your own brain. Your current capacity will overflow, as if you're only built in a sort of way that can obtain and withhold certain information, and you just took the entire life of something into it. You're not a machine, but like, you kind of are. You're basically software, you're not hardware. And I think this is like sort of a thing to say, like hardware in some sort of sense would be the physical embodiment of like who she is, like the vessel of her body itself, whereas the software is the information and everything that's kind of obtained, and it's the continuous, like, you're not real, like this version that we're taking on isn't actually a real thing either, kind of indicating or trying to push her even more towards the acceptance that she doesn't need to be here and doesn't need to take this form, despite her constant like denial in all of that. Like, you're a program with a body. That's kind of exactly what I'm thinking there. At a complete loss. This, I can't even make this scene up for you. I got nothing. Besides using it as a clever way to wipe the screen so that you can transition, or not Arisu, whatever the fuck this girl's name is, I can't even remember. Chisa, so you can transition her to the scene. I don't know. There's nothing easy about dying. Sure. You know what to do. Look, you got this. It is easy. I already got safety off for you. And that's like an interesting conversation in itself, because dying itself is like I don't know how to word it, I guess. Like, it's not hard. Like, it isn't. You can do it at any moment. Like, if you want to, you can. Like, it's easy. It really is. But it's like it's the mental part that's like the hard thing, right? The harming of the physical body out of, say, even one's control is the easy thing. Like, that can be done, right? The killing of the self can be done. That's not the issue. The issue is getting over that mental, that obstacle and stuff. That's what makes it hard. And can you actually get to that? Can you get to the point that you can pull that trigger in this situation, right? Like, can you get to her refusal almost to still do it? You want to stay in the real world? Really? That's not fair. The bodies are completely meaningless, and it's still her just constant, I want to be here, which nobody seemingly can really wrap their own head around. The Arisu scene is really intriguing. Having Lain be the alien that she has seen before, I like a lot. I can't read fully maybe into all of this, but my own guesses on it are similar to the aliens are almost like these figures that are kind of like observing and watching on from what you've seen, that have allowed for information to be obtained, that have then, you know, also allowed for, like, what if we're using them as some sort of symbolic thing for like the reference of somebody who is kind of observing the life of another, maybe within, say, what the internet would kind of be, within what the Wired would be here too, and then using that information, despite not actually being like involved in that situation, to like upload and cause harm and do all these things kind of later on. The information and stuff that was gained, that Lain was able to gain at some other point of exactly Arisu and her relationship or feelings and stuff towards her teacher, that ended up coming into this. Like, what if what if all the aliens and the things that we've seen are aliens from Lain's perspective, but within the perspective of everybody who's kind of witnessed or observed or actually seen them or cited them at least, and made note that that's actually what they've seen, are actually just Lain taking on the form of whatever this person actually is. It's like this creepy kind of being in a way that is just kind of prying their way into somebody else's life. You know, you're invading their space without full consent of anything that's actually going on here. Would be rather weird, but I feel like that's kind of where we're almost headed here, and that's what she utilizes here as a way to just one, indicate that she can transform and like go anywhere that she kind of wants, but it's also kind of what's happening here. And she's observing into these conversations and the things that's happening and the way that Arisu's kind of struggling and feeling up to this point, that then allow her to kind of make her choice of what she actually wants to do, which is essentially just like rewrite and wipe everything. The mention that I didn't do it, she's still on this of like, that's not me, and it was somebody else, despite it being her. It's just fun to me. But you might not be the only Arisu who is interesting, because it's not necessarily something I've really thought of. I mean, we've always thought of the idea that you could possibly do things or upload your own persona and version of yourself, an idealized version of yourself onto whatever the Wired would be, and represent yourself in something that isn't actually you. So maybe a possibility of her meaning that, and the merger of what's actually happened there has created two separate entities that have allowed us for possibly having another Arisu herself. But I don't know if that's necessarily what Lain's kind of getting at here, or if Lain's kind of getting at it's not even just the realization that maybe her own living version being told isn't actually real herself, is like something that is connected to everybody else within the living world, and there's actually nobody there, and all they're doing is like sitting from like this outside perspective, and it's like they're playing a game or watching some sort of simulation kind of unfold, and that there is this other being that's observing the character creation essentially of who or what you are. Maybe it's none of those. Maybe I'm just yapping, but I don't know. That's a weird thing. No matter what I say, though, you won't believe me. So I'm going to actually do something. I'm going to put action to it and prove. You know, I've been doing so much to actually prove that this is what's going to happen. Already destroyed the border. There's kind of nothing, right? We're actually all just one at this point, so I can go and do anything that I want, and I can undo anything, which is what we've seen before. The ability that she would have to kind of snap her finger essentially and be Thanos in the situation and undo and do whatever she kind of wants, which is what we get. We flash immediately to this, and oh look, we don't remember anything that has happened before. Lain's decision to prove her care so much for Arisu is really lovely, and actually I really like that. She's the only person who seemingly has treated her in some sort of like nice and really good way, and constantly been there for her and reached out to her, and called her out when she actively is acting or seeming different entirely. So the idea that Lain continues to, even in the state that she's in, and even after finding out all the things that she does, her first course of action is to go and defend and protect this person who has shown nothing but care for her up to this point, is a really lovely thing, which I'm very happy to kind of see. We end up getting to see Lain, but is this the Lain that we know? I mean, the Lain we know doesn't smile. I love the cuts too, just like the remove all of it. It's isolated for only the two of them to be in the scene until we're ready to snap out and actually have others present within it. Really cool. Lain, that's you? No, that's not the Lain that we know. She doesn't do that. Really cool. But also I think like I said, best episode possibly for me to get into after such a long hiatus here, but at the same time maybe not. So I don't know, help me out with whatever you can, catch me up to speed, remind me of some things that'll be important maybe going forward that I should keep my eye on for the final two that we end up getting. Plan is every Wednesday, like I said. Hopefully we can finish this out within a couple weeks, of course, and maybe get started with something else. I hope you guys did enjoy them. If you guys liked it, I'll hit the like and subscribe. They do mean a lot to me. Feel free to check out the videos and channel. If you content this sort of series, I'll be back for episode 12 next week. I hope it was a great one. Peace.